What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring your MLB props for Tuesday, August 16th. Yesterday, unfortunately, Wilson Contreras did not get it done for us. Ian Happ, on the other hand, decided to hit 2 home runs. He sapped up all the production for the Chicago Cubs, and unfortunately, Contreras did not go over. But Alex Bregman did, so, if you played the 3 of them, you're probably in good shape. But if you only played Contreras and Bregman, unfortunately, you struck out like Contreras did about 3 times yesterday. And as well, if you played Savale, he did go way over. Projection of 4.5. Line was a little bit low for him, and he had 10 strikeouts. Just a phenomenal performance from him. So we're back today with more bets, more props, but we have a massive list today that we have to get into. So let's just dive straight into it. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's a lot of guys here. The 3 guys I like are Luis Rengifo. I still am iffy on Happ. I think Mountcastle's in play, Bregman's in play, and I do like Acuna. So you see that there's so many names. Right at the top, let's start with Christian Walker up against Jake Junis. I'm not sure why they have this line so low. Honestly, Junis is a fine pitcher, but he's not anything to be desired. Walker can be a bit of a boomer bust player. You see, he put up 33 just a few days ago. But again, the number of 5.5 is pretty reasonable for anybody on Arizona. They can be in 5.5, 6.5. Sometimes you see them up in the 7s. And for Walker and a guy who has a ton of power, this is a pretty reasonable number. I don't mind playing him against Junis. Junis hasn't been very good, and that bullpen hasn't been very good behind him either. But I don't know if I'm all in on him, per se. He's hitting 6 of his last 10, which is good. So he's hitting the number pretty consistently. And I think there's a chance he goes over. But I think I just like Rengifo a lot more. People are going to think I'm crazy, but, last time I told you guys about him, last time we played him, I brought up his lefty splits. He plays really, really well against lefties. And more importantly, he has a lot of power against lefties. Today he's up against Robbie Ray. You're probably like, why would I do that? Robbie Ray's a good pitcher, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But at the end of the day, he played really well against Robbie Ray last time. We talked about how he's improved. First time he played Robbie Ray was terrible, over 4. But second time he played him, when he's playing a little bit better, more used to Major League pitching, the dude was dynamite. Doubled his first at bat, went over the 4.5, and scored a run. Easy money. I think you want to play Rengifo again today. I get the familiarity with him is better. He did score a run. He did double last time. So there's a lot of things to like here with Rengifo. I think he can definitely go over, and that double off the bat just tells me that he is more acclimated to this pitching, and he can probably get the best of Robbie Ray again. With a line of only 4.5, I'd be willing to run that risk personally. I think it's worth it. Ian Happ, Taylor Ward, I'm probably going to stay away from. I don't really like him today. Ian Happ. Oh, man, Ian Happ just went nuclear yesterday, hitting 2 home runs. He could definitely do it again. He's up against Patrick Corbin. So I'm not going to rule it out. I don't necessarily want to go back into those flames. Corbin has been really bad. He has homered off Corbin before. So there is that history there, which is good to see. Then you see Josh Rojas. Again, it seems for whatever reason like the Arizona Diamondbacks are a little underpriced today. Josh Rojas has been playing pretty well against Jake Junis. 9.77 over the last 14, 11.29 over the last 7. I'm not in on him. I'm not quite there. I don't think it's a great matchup, but, Rojas has been really good. You see his game log, 17, 29, 8, 12, 10, 18. He's going over pretty consistently, which is good to see. Again, line of only 6. I don't mind it. Then you have Brian Reynolds, who's been pretty hot up against Nick Pivetta, who's been just dog shit. We know this. And I've been touting against Pivetta quite a bit. He's been allowing a ton of runs. I do think there's a world where he does go over in this one as well. I don't think he's a core play per se. I think I'm still looking at Rengifo and Bregman, Acuna, maybe Mountcastle if I feel like being a little spicy. But all these guys do have options, and all these guys do have great edges and potentials to go over. A lot of low totals with a lot of very high-end pitchers on the mound. I really like what I'm seeing from some of these guys. Like Reynolds has been playing very, very well. Bregman, we talked about him yesterday. He went over. His line's even lower today because he's up against Dylan Cease. Again, the pitch valve matchup is not good. Cease has got crazy strikeout stuff, but Bregman is literally on a tear right now. Going over this number basically every day. You see 9 of his last 10. He did it again last night. So again, I think there's a really good shot that he's just riding a heater right now, and you want to keep riding with him because he has been phenomenal so far over the last couple weeks or so. And like I said, 10.7 over the last 14, 14.43 over the last 7, 1.13 hits. There's just a lot of things to like with what he's doing right now. And then I think you can say the same thing about Acuna, right? Acuna Yesterday, the Mets just got shelled, like just throttled, and now they're up against Taijuan Walker, who has been struggling a little bit. I think I'd be willing to roll with Acuna, the 1.43 hits per game, the 2.21 total bases. These are things that are great for Acuna, not just because he's getting on base, but we know that the threat of the steal is there for Acuna, and that's really important when we talk about some of these guys. Again, 7.5 is a lofty total, but we know that Acuna can get on base at will, and he can steal bases. And if he gets on base, he steals a base, he's pretty much right there to going over. A walk and a steal is going to be almost a push with 7 points, and a hit and a steal for him is 8, so he would already be over if he does get a steal. 10.64 over his last 14 days and 11.71 over his last 7. He's not doing a ton from a power perspective. Extra base hits, you see 0.5, 0.64 runs. But I do think there's a world where he does go over in this one. I do like the matchup against Taijuan Walker. They've never actually faced each other, which is kind of surprising. But I am liking what I'm seeing there. I think that I would be rolling with probably a 3-pack of Rengifo, Acuna, and Alex Bregman. I just think those 3 guys are poised with great matchups, great opportunity. You could go after... I'm not saying you can't go after Contreras. You can't go after Happ. I don't know which one to pick. If I had to pick one, I don't know which one it would be. Maybe you just play both of them. Again, it's if you're playing in DFS, you just stack against Corbin because he's terrible. But picking which one is going to go off today is a little bit more difficult. Not to say that you can't play it. It's like I said, you see they're just massive. There's a lot of guys who have a lot of upside today, a lot of potential. Happ is definitely one of those guys coming off the 2-homer game yesterday. Contreras, maybe you think he's more likely to go over today because yesterday he did struggle, and he's up against Corbin today, who, again, he only hits 200 off Corbin, though, so nothing spectacular versus Happ, who hits 375 off him. But then the other guy, like I mentioned, is Ryan Mountcastle, up against Alek Manoah. The Baltimore Orioles have been playing very, very well lately. They put up, I believe, 7 runs on the Blue Jays yesterday, so I do think they have a shot to have another good day today. A lot of their totals are pretty high, but Mountcastle's, for whatever reason, is low. It's very surprising to see this, especially with the way he plays the Blue Jays. He has like a 350 average against the Blue Jays. He slugs like crazy. He's got 2 home runs off Alek Manoah, hitting 333, so 3 hits. 2 of those 3 hits are home runs. It's looking pretty good for Mountcastle today. I don't mind it at all. I'd be willing to play him. I think again, he's not doing a ton, and so it's more of like if you want to run a flex play and it's like a 5-leg, you want to throw Mountcastle in there. I don't hate it, but that's just kind of where my head's at right now. I think that these guys are really what I'm looking at. I still think Rengifo is a great play with his lefty splits. I still like Bregman with how hot he's been. I do think taking a shot on Acuna today against Walker is a great option. I think that, again, Atlanta's going to try to put the beat down on the Mets. They're trying to catch them in the division, so a lot of good things to like there. I didn't even mention Shohei Ohtani. I don't really like him against Robbie Ray. I just don't. He's never got a hit off Robbie Ray, so I'm not really willing to go there. But Brian Hayes, Pitt, of course, against Pivetta. You see a sack against Corbin. And then, of course, I talked about the Arizona Diamondbacks sacking against Jay Junis is definitely an option for sure. So that's kind of where I'm looking at right now. I gave you kind of the 3 that I'm most confident in. And if you want to take a quick look at the strikeout model, these are the ones I'm looking at. I'm not sure exactly who I'm going to take today, but I'm waiting for the ump factors. I think Cortez looks pretty good, but you see that Garrett Cole did struggle yesterday against the Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe they're making a slight turn, not striking out so much, and then Edward Cabrera has been pretty good. But I do want to look at the lefty splits that San Diego has because they may be a little bit better against lefties. They do have a very strong right-handed lineup, so I don't necessarily want to go after that. I think Springs is in play as well. You see this is sorted by PrizePicks Edge. I know that some of these lines have moved since I last talked about it. Cease is probably the most interesting one for an under. You see 7.5 on DK and then 6.5 on PrizePicks. And main reason why is because of this 15% K rate for the Astros. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. You guys can kind of just pause it, take a look at this. I'm still kind of testing this, seeing how it works. Plesac as well against Detroit. If you want to run back Detroit, he looks pretty good as well. You see only 5 on PrizePicks and 5.5 on DK. I think he's in really good shape as well. Doesn't quite have quite as high of a K rate, but still Detroit's King at a massive level right now. It's that swinging strike rate for Plesac that isn't quite there over the last 30 days, and that's why I'm not all the way in on him. And then as well, I'm waiting for these umpire factors to come in. So I can kind of add to this database a little bit. But this is what I'm looking at right now for strikeouts. If you guys want to take any of it, take a look at the data, see if you like it, kind of go from there. But those are the guys I'm looking at as far as the hitters go. You're still looking at Rengifo, Bregman, and Ronald Acuna. I think those are the guys that are going to be poised for overs today. And as always, make sure to drop me a like and subscribe for future content. I will see you guys tomorrow. And if you tail, give them hell. And if we fail, do not bail. Hopefully, Wilson Contreras or Ian Happ can go over today, but I just don't want to try and pick which one. Acuna, Rengifo, and Alex Bregman are the 3 guys I'm all in on today. Mix and match those plays, and I think you'll make some money. I'm out. Peace.